My name is Antonio. I'm with the Nocturnal. Obviously, first, congrats on your show. You guys, opening for Red Jumpsuit Apparatus the other day. That's huge.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Now, can you guys tell us a little bit about who you are, how you came together, and who you are as a band?
Who's jumping in?
You want to start that one, Alex?
Yeah.
Sure. We are Crash Overcast. We are a pop punk / post-hardcore band from Los Angeles, California. The band was started in 2015 with JD and I, and then our whole lineup filled out shortly after that with Jeff on drums and Edwin on lead guitar. And we've been a band ever since, and we don't plan on stopping being a band anytime soon. So yeah, we're super psyched to just play shows, write music, and make funny videos. That's our whole vibe.
Sweet. Yo, so you guys have a pretty big, well, actually, let's talk about your stage presence, I guess. You guys have this almost this natural, ability to just be on stage and put on a performance. So did you guys pick that up from any other bands, or was that something that just came naturally?
Stage presence.
So actually, on the night of the show, I had talked to a lot of people about this. It was, I guess, it definitely wasn't necessarily natural. It was, as anyone knows who's played in, these local bands, you play a lot of shows to no one. We do all these shows, we hype them up, we push it. We're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come. Like, cool, we got like 25 people coming to the show. You end up playing the show. There's 2 guys standing in the crowd. So actually, in my previous bands and when we first started the band, I always had a little bit of stage fright issues for me. So I would always have, maybe a couple of drinks, maybe a couple too many drinks before we hit the show. But really what that evolved into is, you know what? I'm going to actually go out there and I'm going to have fun myself. Like, I love playing music and I want to play live music. But what can I do to make it fun that will kind of alleviate it sucks we're playing to one person. Like, no, let's give that one person the show of their life. And so me jumping around on stage when I go and I mess with the guys, sometimes I push them over or whatever. Those are just things I'm doing. That's what I do in practice. So it really was like, why don't I just do what I'm doing in practice? Because I'm not trying to impress anyone in practice. I'm just there to have fun and learn the songs. So I'm gonna translate that. I'm just gonna do that live. And so that's kind of where that transition came from. And I was like, let's just make it fun. And if I'm having fun, it's really where that came out. If I'm having fun, they're having fun. We had 2 people show up to a show. Both those people come like, oh my God, you are so amazing. Would love the stage presence. You guys are all over the place. So much energy. And I was like, that's what I want to hear. So I was like, I don't care if there's one person standing there watching us or if there's a packed out crowd, which was unbelievable to play that Red Jumpsuit show and see all those people.
So many people.
A lot easier to get that hype going on stage for us when there's 400 or 500 people, and
when the energy is reciprocated,
Yeah,
we can vibe off of each other.
Feed off that for sure.
Yeah, and as long as we're having fun, that's what translates over. And luckily for me, with JD and Alex being so animated, when it comes down to the parts where I do have to kind of be laser focused into what I'm doing, it makes me feel more comfortable knowing that they're still going at it, doing their job, jumping around, having a good time. It basically everyone doing their own thing makes me feel more comfortable in the moment as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm the same way. And then with bigger shows like this, we always try to see how we can elevate a live performance, whether that's switching up a set list for a different show, or what we did with this Red Jumpsuit show, starting off just getting everybody involved with a clap before we even really hit the first note of a full song. So yeah, it's just trying to figure out the best ways that we can get everybody involved and keep everybody engaged throughout the whole night.
So what would you say? I guess there has to be some major difference between recording your music, whether it's recording, practicing, or performing. I guess what would you say are, you guys did touch on this a little bit. What are the main differences, and what would you say? Do you like one more than the other, or are they just there's too different to compare?
I think our writing and our writing style for the songs is kind of like the glue that glues all those things together, that glues like practice to studio time to live performance. Because what we, stemming off of the whole energy on stage question, what we've tried to do with our most recent writing is be like, okay, this is kind of like this energy on stage and this performance we give is kind of become a calling card for our band. How do we harness that into the songs that we write and write our songs in the studio for how they would translate live and vice versa? So basically we want like the Crash Overcast experience from us performing on stage to be in your headphones when you're listening to us on Spotify as well. So, and then practice is kind of like the thing that bolsters both those things when we're just rehearsing them through. But I would say, to answer your question about what I personally like most, I feel like performing live is far and away my favorite thing to do, just because I love these guys and I just love like getting on stage and just having so much fun. But the studio will always hold a special place in my heart, and I feel like we all hold that dear, the four of us. Like for something for me, guitar wise specifically, it feels good to be able to sit in a controlled environment and like really just dial in stuff very, very precisely. And I don't know, there's something about that that feels really good. Also with singing, it's nice to be able to just like concentrate on specific parts and like dial in a performance the way you want it to.
I'm the same way. Live performance is my preference. When it comes to drums, like try to write for the songs, but also write like exciting stuff. And like when it comes to recording, that can become like a little bit mechanical, just like nailing parts down and making sure everything's right and hitting hard and all that. But live, it's just kind of like, I don't know, you can improv a little bit and just like kind of be a little bit looser and scream at people and I don't know. That's like the most fun for me. That's the most fun part.
I kind of think of them as different phases because obviously it all starts with the writing. If you don't write anything, we don't have anything to record or perform. That's the part where we get to be probably the most creative because that's the foundation of what all the bands are based off of. From there, I actually enjoy the recording session a lot, mostly from an education aspect. So I look at recording writing as our most creative point. Recording gets creative, but it's also the most educating part because that's where you have to push yourself. Sometimes I can jam a song, with the guys in the space, but then we get in the studio like, no, you're behind, you're ahead, you're rushing, you didn't hit that at the right time. Like, so not only from a playing standpoint, but also from the technological, like production standpoint, it becomes this interesting learning process. Oh, I didn't know you could do that, or you could do these layers, or that's a unique way to make that sound for a record. So it's a lot of it's always that. Like I try to be there every day, whether I'm doing anything or not. I always want to be in the studio every day because you can always learn something from watching professionals work. And that's the thing, is it's like watching a show too. Watch someone like Red Jumpsuit. They've been doing it for years. And you're like, they're a professional. You can watch them and you can always learn something, just like I can learn something when I'm in the studio watching them. But it really all culminates to the live. If I could, if I could just, I don't want to not do those other parts. But if for some reason all those other parts were already done and we had a back catalog of 200 songs that were, big and we could just play those, I would be happy. I'd probably still write, but I would be happy.
Doing the
play
shows
every day. Just do the shows every day. Just get out there and try to beat every day, play the Red Jumpsuit show. If we had another show following that, be like, what can I do better from the Red Jumpsuit show? And that's the first thing. We saw all the videos, all the posts from, the Instagram, and lots of people we know, people we don't know, lots of people talking to us about it. But even still looking back, what could I have done better? Because there's always more room to improve. There's always room to grow, to get bigger, to do more. And I think that's what keeps it even more exciting, is like, there's different, it's not the same thing every time. Yeah, I'm jumping or doing this, but I don't have to do that exact same thing every time. What could be more exciting? What did the audience really get into? They like this, got a big reaction every time this happened versus this, So it's like feeding off of that and really learning from that aspect too.
They all kind of scratch a different itch for me, so it's hard to pick one. Definitely probably doing the live shows is like seeing the end result of all the work and just having fun with it. Like that's like the reward basically. I love the writing process and the recording process because I like that feeling it gives you, like when you finally have it like created and you're like, this didn't exist before and now it does, and like we made this. There's not really a feeling that beats that. And then as far as rehearsal, like that's like my own, I like just hanging out with these guys, like not just my bandmates, but like best friends, you know, and like being able to be in this room, nothing else exists outside of it, and we can just have a good time for a couple hours, you know. So each one serves its own purpose for me. But like what JD's saying though, like if we could play a show night after night and like just keep it going, I would definitely do that.
Yeah. And one more thing about like the recording process, like JD said about the educational part of it, like I'm with him, like I get my stuff out of the way the first day or two, and then like I make sure that I'm there as many days, because we work with Paul Miner we've worked with him on our last two records, and his like discography, not just with like his Death by Stereo stuff, but Atreyu, Newfound Glory.
I'm Glory.
He's such a like savant master of what he does that it's just cool to like see what he has as far as like input, or like you should move this here or harmonize this here. It's like it's entertaining and super educational.
And he's just fun to hang out with. He's a good dude.
You guys, it's actually really interesting because it's just, I guess it's just the way that like music works. And I had like 3 other questions, maybe 4, and you guys literally answered all of them. Like you guys answered all of them. Like not like it just in the it. I'm very glad that you guys are really good at this. Let's talk about this. So this album you guys have.
Oh man.
Edwin, you and I can take a break from this part.
So that's our original EP that we recorded in 2016. Does that sound right,
Okay.
Alex? 2016?
Yeah, I think it's 2016.
That's where it all started. So when I first met Alex, he had a handful of songs. Say anywhere from 50 to 80, 90% finished. And they were like great songs. So like let's get into it. Let's try to track these down. So we worked them out over the span, played a couple of shows. Actually, we played our first show probably 2 weeks after I joined the band. They were like, hey, we're going to play these songs plus another song if you're interested. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, I'm always down to play a show. Again, like I said before, like everything else is fun, but let's play shows. So it was awesome to really jump into that like 2 weeks after and just be like, let's go hard on that. But yeah, then we really fleshed out those songs as we wanted to. Obviously at that point, and you hear this when you listen to the record, very pop punk sound coming from a very bouncy, kind of straight pop punk. I had actually left recently a metal band. I was a guitar player for a metal band before this. And so when I joined the band, I was like, oh, well, we have these pop punk songs, but I'm going to do like some little like screaming accents here and there. It's still kind of fun, but I'm going to throw it in there. And that's kind of where our sound that we have today developed. Because I want to say maybe shortly after that, Alex like, hey, I got this other song, which was Not With That Attitude. And it kind of evolved from there. It was the first song that he ever showed me that was definitely heavier. And I was like, oh, I really like where this is going. It's got a really cool, vibe to it. It's a lot different than what you had. And it's kind of like that when you listen to a band and you're like, man, their first record was cool, but they really fell into their own sound with the second record. And that had started from, I think, adding, the diversity between Alex and I. And then it just exploded as we added like Jeff and Edwin, because it opens up all these new possibilities, right? And this always happens when you collaborate with other artists and whatnot. You go, oh, we can do that. Oh, you can do that, because this is what I want to do, but I don't think anybody could do that. Or it's like, what if we did something like this? And then you have that extra input. But it really, I mean, obviously, it all goes back to that record, to that. There's actually Moon. I think it was the very first little demo we made had Moonlit Streets on it and Adjustments. Is that right, Alex?
Yeah. It was those two songs.
Yeah,
I think they're still on Spotify. Both of them, I think, are still on there, which is hilarious.
Moonlit Streets made it to that record, but Adjustments is not on that one. But Adjustments is still available to stream on our streaming services. But that's still one of my favorite songs, and probably it is the first song that Alex ever showed me, and that was the one that got me like hooked on the band. When I was like, hey, I'm interested. Like, what do you got? You sent me that song, and I was like, yes. That's where it started.
You got the lyrics in this. I was looking through, like, I think staying in tonight is that's some relatable shit. That's
That's awesome.
We
Yeah,
almost played that one at the show too.
yeah,
No.
we had it ready.
Almost.
It was like ready-ish to go in case like
It was
we
our
needed
sound check song. Or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a one more song.
Yeah, if we had time, we were gonna throw it in there.
We're always between that one and Truly because we really like Truly. Truly is a lot slower on the record. I don't know if you've listened to it compare.
Just truly, we kind of spiced it up and played it fast. We play it faster live than it is on that.
Pretty significantly faster.
Yeah.
That's
to
one
the
that we
point where
always
it's
want to
almost-
include when we
It's
can.
almost tough to practice to the original. So that's like for me when I practice, that's like where I switch over to like a click track. Like
Oh, yeah. It's totally different. The crowd participation that we found over the years with that song is something that we kind of don't want to miss out on when we
Yeah.
play live too. So it's, as far as like old songs go, that's one that we definitely like throwing in because those who have, like our friends who have just been like a part of our journey since the very beginning know certain parts where there's like crowd responses and lyrics that we change. And so it's really cool to see, like at the jumpsuit show, there's a part where we change a lyric and the whole band drops out and it's just everybody screaming. And it's one of those moments where like JD and I kind of move away from the mic a little bit and see how many people give it back to us. And there was a ton of people who yelled it, which was really cool. So shout out to everybody in the show who knows that a specific part.
it's great. It's like you either know it and you get to scream it, or you don't know it and it's funny, and you're like, oh no.
You'll remember it for the next Crash show when that part comes up.
let me, dude, guys, we're running out of time, which sucks because I have. All right, I have two. All right, let's do the fun questions, I guess. Okay, damn, this sucks. All right, do you guys, I guess, all right, let's do it real quick. Do you guys have a favorite movie?
Dumb and Dumber.
Great choice. Okay.
Probably Jurassic Park, the original.
Oh,
Yo. Yeah.
I'm wearing the beanie for it, so I'm gonna go with Beetlejuice.
Return of the Jedi. I'm just like a huge Star Wars freak. So yeah.
you're an Empire guy.
Do you guys have like a dream, I guess, dream jam session or a dream collab?
Good question.
I feel like our influences for the four of us like kind of intersect like a Venn diagram a lot. And then it's kind of cool because all of us have that like outer edge of stuff that like is just unique to the four of us. So I feel like our collabs might be very different between the four of us, but would all add something to the band. So I'll preface our answers like that.
Perfect.
Yeah,
the first one that came to the top of my head, because I'm amazed by some of the stuff they do and the choices and the way they work with time, is Belmont. I feel like that's a band that I would love to like dissect and pick their brains and see how their writing process is.
Just tell me you want a better drummer, dude.
What are you talking about?
Just tell me you want me to be a better drummer.
There is no such thing. There is no such thing.
Yeah, that's a tough one because like I feel like, especially with being deeply rooted in a lot of different genres, like favorite bands or favorite like things like change so often. So like one of my favorite metal groups is kind of a smaller group off the East Coast called Before I Turn, and that would be an incredible band to jam with and really pick, because I love, I love everything about what they do, their production, their vocals, guitar sounds, like and then the general heaviness of it. But then they also get, kind of light, clean. There's a lot of piano. It's just overall, it's a great ride. And while I don't think our music would mesh necessarily with them, that would be an awesome, session to really get in there. But then there's also like, Blink-182. Yeah, they just released that new record. And I said this before. I was like, it doesn't really matter what they ever do because they'll always have that place for me, because that's how I really started, is kind of generic as it is, because some people started with these smaller bands. But I was like, there was a buddy who hit me up back in the day on a messenger, and he was like, hey, you heard of this band called Blink-182? And I was like, nah, I don't know who they are. And he was like, oh, you gotta check out this song called What's My Age Again. It's a pretty dope song. And I was like, it is a pretty dope song. And it went from there. And then like I didn't let it go. I bought that record, and inside they always say thanks to, and then they listed a bunch of bands, and I just downloaded every single one of those bands. I was like, Fugazi, Descendants, okay, Alistair, never heard of them, Homegrown, who's that? Starting Line, like they had thank yous to all of those new and old punk, pop punk bands, like just everything that was going on at that time. And I was like, I'm gonna download everything that Mark, Tom, and Travis said that they wanted, and that's so. But yeah, I mean, those two bands radically different, but also would be like a dream come true. Sit them both in the same room and jam and just do everything with that.
I think we have one or two more, or
yeah, Jeffrey, Alex,
Let's just collab with like Bela Maya, dude, and just get some crazy.
Down.
I think these guys have all heard my dream collab. I think Rody Walker, the lead singer of Protest the Hero, would be like the ultimate like feature to have, just because he had like, we have different screams and singing voices in this band, and he can kind of hit like all of those things. And like that's my favorite band. Like I've always thought that they were like the perfect mix of like skate punk, heavy metal, super crazy technical stuff, and like very fast, like frenetic drums and guitars, and like his voice over the top of it has always been like such a like peak of my interest, that to hear him like either do highs or lows, like trade off with Alex, I think would be the sickest thing ever.
Man, dude, that'd be crazy. I think for me, I guess I have two. One on the heavier side of like the genres that we pull influence from. Spencer Chamberlain from Under Oath would be incredible. He's their frontman slash lead screamer. Under Oath was the band that like gateway drugged me into heavy music back in like 2004. And so I feel like they're such like a staple for me and a through line growing up. And I still listen to them, that it'd be cool to have his vocal take and like his lyricism as a feature on our stuff. And then from the popular side of things, it'd be a dream to work with Derek from State Champs. That guy is, I feel like, one of the most incredible vocalists in the scene in this like modern era. He's just such a ridiculously good writer and a really, really great producer. So I'm putting out there now, it'd be awesome to work with Derek from State Champs. We'll see.
Put it out in the universe, dude.
Yeah.